Here we go. So, I wanted to catch your attention with the title of this video. And let me turn the sound off. Okay. This is something that everyone should understand. Everyone should know. And I don't know how many people do know it or don't know it. But I've just learned these things. I'm learning these things now. So it's not like I have something to offer. I am actually there's just a strong desire for me to, if for someone that doesn't know some of the things that I have learned, that they do know them, because it's the most important thing to me in my life. The things I've realized in the last, say, 5 years or 7 years or whatever, my life has changed. And not so much about my life, like out in the world, but in my heart. But we're gonna look at a few things while we're looking at where Enoch was taken. So it all started when he was shown the treasuries of the wind, or the winds. And so we're going to go there, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on the screen so that let's see here, desktop should show you Google, and we'll make that a little bigger. Okay, I'm just putting that there so you guys can read along with if you want. You don't have to. It probably doesn't really matter if you see the screen or not. So sorry about that. Another thing too, one thing I wanted to say is I expected sort of a different kind of video coming from my channel soon, where I'm going. The difference is that I'm going to be using a dry erase board that I got, and drawing some of these things out the best that I can, or whatever, to because there's a lot about, I'd say, cosmology, or this reality we live in is not understood. I'm not saying I understand it, but my previous understanding was the farthest you could be to the truth, or it's farthest from the truth, and yet my whole life I thought it was just simply the truth, but it wasn't. So Enoch, it starts out, he goes to this place twice, I think. We're gonna go over it, but I'm gonna explain this very carefully to as we're reading it. I want you guys to understand this the way that I do, and that's the whole purpose of me making this video, or usually any video I make, is because I'm seeing something, and I'm gonna call it supernatural happening, but that's not a good enough explanation. I would say it's supernatural because it's something that no one could ever think of. No one could ever actually predict, or maybe that's not the right word, foretell, like the things that would be happening up in the sky, and on the earth at a specific time. And that's just the way that it is. So Enoch was giving us information about creation, and right here he's talking, okay, I'll just read. I saw the treasuries of all the winds. I saw how he had furnished with them the whole creation and the firm foundations of the earth. Okay, guys, we're stopping there, and let's. Thomas Morgan actually is in the chat and actually opened my eyes to this. I didn't see this when I read it. I didn't understand this verse the way that it actually is what it's actually saying in it with plain words. I did not understand it that way after I could quote it for you, and I didn't understand it the right way. So I'll read it again, and we'll look at three different basically parts of this verse. I saw the treasuries of all the winds. So he's just telling us what he is going to be explaining. He's telling us what it is, like a title to a article. Okay. He says, I saw the treasuries of all the winds. And then he says, I saw how he had furnished with them the whole creation and the firm foundations of the earth. Sean Hawkins is in the chat. Welcome, Sean. Good to see you. There's a test that Sean proposed that I do where to see if he's... I'm just going to explain this really quick. This is off topic, but because Sean is asking the question, why run from the test? Sean, your test was, I'll say it just in general, it was to plot out, say, a circle on the ceiling, and run my EQ mount with my camera on it, like I would do if I was going to follow a star, and or star trails. But the point of the test that Sean is thinking is that that's going to explain something about the sky concerning circles, and the apparent shape that takes place when viewing that circle from anywhere but the center of it, below the center of it, that it's not going to be a circle. And this is an obvious thing, and Sean thinks that this is going to prove something about the sky. And Sean, what I want to say about your test is, I respect the idea of doing a test or a challenge. I do. I think that's a great idea because we can only learn, right? But in this case, I've done things like that, and I've thought about things like that, and I've learned so I'm telling you that I'm learning something, Sean. I've learned that those kind of tests are not possible, to gain any knowledge about the sky is not possible with a test like that. It doesn't prove anything about the ground beneath your feet. Those are two different things, okay? And actually, we're talking about, we're going to a place with Enoch, and you saw the title of the video. So please join us, and I just want you guys to understand what Enoch is telling us about this place. He's telling us something very important about what is up in the sky, okay? And most of the YouTube channels that talk about this kind of thing, a lot of them disagree with me on this, and there's really no reason why. Because they just have an idea that something else is going on, and that's another subject. But I hope they're going to listen to this, or if you know who does these things, just share this with them. Okay, so this is saying that God furnished with the winds the entire creation and the firm foundations of the earth. So if I was to ask, I know Thomas Morgan would get the answer the same answer that I would give, because I actually learned this from Thomas. What if I asked you, what are the foundations of the earth? The pillars of the earth. Everybody talks about them. The foundation of the earth. What is that? And where does my mind, my automatic mind that isn't listening to what Enoch is telling us, where does my automatic mind go? Well, when I build a house, I put a foundation under it, right? That's how that when we build a building, when they build a skyscraper, the foundation has to be super strong and go deep into the bedrock. And like, that's where my mind goes because I live in the earth. But Enoch might be giving us a detail that is different than that. And he is telling us that the foundations of the earth is the four winds. That's what Enoch's telling us, because he's saying he saw how God had furnished with them, with the winds, the whole creation and the firm foundations of the earth. So I'm for this video anyway. If you disagree with that, fine. But just for this video, let's break these verses down a little bit and learn or understand whether we agree with it or not. Let's understand what Enoch's point of view is, what he's actually saying. Because like that's why I bring Thomas Morgan up, because Thomas will point something out, and I'll go, oh man, that really is actually entirely different than what I thought of. And at first, I'll be against it. And me and Thomas have been through a few things like this. I'm against it. No. But then we, chat about it or whatever, and think about it, and then understanding changes. And I think that is not my mind changing. That is my understanding being changed. Okay? It's not I'm right or I'm wrong. It has nothing to do with that. Because if you were to just ask me, I'm wrong about everything. Okay. So we'll move a little faster through the rest of this, but just that's an important thing, I think, that Enoch saw God had furnished with the wind, the whole creation, and the firm foundations of the earth. Okay, verse 2. And I saw the cornerstone of the earth. I saw the four winds, which bear the earth and the firmament of the heaven. So if there's a structure holding up the heavens, it's the air. It's the four winds bear the earth and the firmament of the heaven. So the firmament is held up by the four winds. And I saw how the winds stretch out the vaults of heaven and have their station between heaven and earth. These are the pillars of the heaven. So the winds that are between the heaven and the earth, which that's where we live, right? Those winds are the pillars of the heaven. Okay, verse 4. I saw the winds of heaven. So now he's talking about the winds of heaven, which turn and bring the circumference of the sun and all the stars to their setting. Let me see if I can just show you a quick where my understanding's at there visually. I think I can. It might just take a second, because this is we're going to realize that Enoch is up where the stars are. And he's talking about the winds of heaven. Whoops, that's a terrible image. Hold on, sorry. I don't know if I have... Is that another... I'm waiting on it. Well, it's see-through, it's transparent, but you know what I'm talking about. See that? Okay, I'll read that verse again. So we know what's doing this, I'm saying. We know if some people might call it the atmosphere, some people might call it the ether, or some people might... Who knows what they call it? It doesn't really matter. But Enoch's saying, I saw the winds of heaven, which turn and bring the circumference of the sun and all the stars to their setting. So all these things in the sky have a circumference. They're going in a circle. And they are moving because they're in the... Whether the lights are like moving themselves or whether they're in a medium called the winds of heaven, which turn, and they carry all these things. Okay, so here's where I want to take another quick stop, and I want to remind everyone, because I just thought of it. I want to remind everyone that when we want to learn about this, we have to forget about what we already know about everything. Because we know everything, right? We know all about all of this. Science, science, science. Forget all of that for the purpose of understanding what Enoch's saying. So he's saying that the winds of heaven are turning. Okay? And they're bringing the circumference of the sun and the stars to their setting. So a question that people might ask is, why does the, or here, I brought this up, this was from a video I watched of Neil deGrasse Tyson's where he was talking about, I think, Einstein or whatever. And he says, when I look up at the apple on the tree's holding it up. And then it falls, though. When it falls, what's making it fall? Because right next to it is the moon, and that just stays up there. And nothing's holding it. Like, that question is answered, isn't it? It's actually being held by the winds of heaven, whatever that is. And it's the winds of heaven is actually carrying it around in a circle. Because the winds of heaven are going around in a circle. And they're bringing all the stars to their setting. Okay. Verse 5 says, I saw the winds on the earth carrying the clouds. They hold everything up. They're carrying the clouds. I saw the paths of the angels. I saw at the end of the earth the firmament of the heaven above. Now, there's two ways to look at that. He said at the end of the earth, the firmament of heaven above. He saw at the end of the earth. So does that mean he was like, at Antarctica, or what's the end of the earth? And then it's saying that's where he saw the end of the earth, or at the end of the earth, the firmament of the heaven above. So there's two ways to look at that. We could be thinking left to right, that way, the end of the earth, like if it was a disc in space, you'd fall off like that end of the earth. Or it gives me a different idea when he says the heaven above. At the end of the earth, the firmament of the heaven above. So according to Enoch, the way he's looking at it, the earth, but part of the sky is the earth, is considered the earth. Like, I'm not saying the dirt of the earth or the ground, but it's part of the earth where we live. It's the air is, the winds of the earth. And then there's the winds of heaven. There are two different kinds of winds. Okay, the ones in heaven are going in a circle. The ones on the earth are carrying the clouds. Do you get what I'm saying? The winds in the heaven are doing all the stars, bringing the sun and the moon around in circles and making the stars set. And the ones on the earth were doing other things. But they weren't going in a circle. They were carrying the clouds. And then he saw at the end of the earth the firmament of the heaven above. So he's saying he saw the firmament at the end of the earth, but he's saying the firmament above. I'm thinking the other way to look at this is he's looking up. He's not looking as if there's an edge to the earth. Okay? He's looking at it as he's on the earth and there's these winds that are doing all these things on the earth, but then there's something above he sees. He's calling it a firmament. And then he's seeing the winds of heaven above that, doing all the things that carrying the stars around in a circle. So whatever the firmament is, that's where it began, or that's where he saw the firmament above. Okay, I'll read that verse again. Excuse me. Let me grab a drink here. Okay, in verse 5, it says, I saw the winds on the earth carrying the clouds. I saw the path of the angels. I saw at the end of the earth the firmament of the heaven above. Oh, I've got that thing on there. Okay. And I proceeded and saw a place which burns day and night. So he's talking about the winds, and then now we're on a different, now he's talking about something else. Okay. So we just learned about the winds, I think, quite clearly. I think people are going to talk about the Kármán line. That's great. That's probably where Enoch's talking about. That's probably where this firmament of the heaven above was at the end of the earth. Was probably about that Kármán line, because it was where the winds of the earth were carrying the clouds. And then there was the firmament, and then above that was the winds of heaven making all the stars go around. Okay? So we're going to go up into that. We're going to go up into that place with Enoch very shortly here. Okay. So he goes to a place. So he's at the end of the earth at the firmament of the heaven above or whatever. And he says, I proceeded and saw a place which burns day and night, where there are 7 mountains of magnificent stones, 3 towards the east and 3 towards the south. And as for those towards the east, one was of colored stone, and one of pearl, and one of jacinth, and those towards the south of red stone. What could he be talking about there? I don't really know. But it was a place that was burning. He said it burns day and night. So it's continuous burning. And he saw 7 mountains of magnificent stones. Okay. So I'm not sure what that is, but I think we're going to maybe know where that is, or we're going to know what these mountains are. Okay. Verse 8, but the middle one reached to heaven like the throne of God of alabaster, and the summit of the throne was of sapphire. And I saw a flaming fire. Okay, so that was a place where he just was explaining all of that. He saw this throne that reached like the throne of God. Okay, and then now he's going to be telling us what he sees beyond that. Okay, and that was verse 9. And I saw a flaming fire, and beyond these mountains is a region, the end of the great earth, where the heavens were completed. So let's just consider that. The end of the great earth where the heavens were completed. Enoch was just talking about that. He just said, I saw the winds on the earth carrying the clouds. I saw the path of the angels. I saw at the end of the earth the firmament of the heaven above. So he's going there, apparently. And I saw a deep abyss. This is verse 11. And I saw a deep abyss with columns of heavenly fire. And among them I saw columns of fire fall, which were beyond measure, alike toward the height and towards the depth. So apparently he's seeing an abyss that doesn't have a top or a bottom, that it's bigger than, or he couldn't tell, beyond measure. And there's these columns that were going up, burning up and down in there, or maybe just down. What did it say? Fire fall, yeah. So there's fire going down in this place. Okay. Verse 12 says, okay, so actually so he's still proceeding, and he's going to see another place. He says, and beyond that abyss, so there was this abyss, don't forget that, okay? Because we know where he is. He's at the end of the earth where the firmament above is, okay? Think about that. So he sees a deep abyss. And beyond that abyss, I saw a place. Okay, this is where we're going into space now. You guys ready? Right here. Beyond that abyss, I saw a place which had no firmament of the heaven above, and no firmly founded earth beneath it. Let me grab a video and show you guys. I should have thought of this and I didn't, but I know where the video is, so I'm going to get it. I saw a place which had no firmament of the heaven above, and no firmly founded earth beneath it. So that's kind of just saying two things, right? Okay, this video. Let's just see if this would match with what he's saying. Okay. I'll read it again. And beyond that abyss, I saw a place which had no firmament of the heaven above, and no firmly founded earth beneath it. That might be because it doesn't look like there's anything above that, really. It just looks like darkness, right? And then below it, that wouldn't be firmly founded. Why would he be bringing up earth? Would he just say? Wouldn't he just say he was in a different place where the earth wasn't there? But he says he saw no firmly founded earth beneath it. Okay. And I'm not promoting this image. I'm just trying to make a point about the firmly founded earth. Why would he bring it up? Okay, back to the desktop. And look at what it says. There was no water upon it, and no birds, but it was a waste and horrible place. So Enoch might be able to point out some of our just our indoctrination that we have from being in this world. The things that we think that we understand how they are, but there's different aspects that we don't consider always until they're pointed out, or until we learn about them, or whatever. I saw a place which had no firmament of the heaven above, and no firmly founded earth beneath it. There was no water upon it, and no birds, but it was a waste and horrible place. So that doesn't say that it's space or anything. It just says that it is a waste and horrible place. Verse 13, I saw there 7 stars like great burning mountains. And to me, when I inquired regarding them... Oh, wait, actually, we'll stop right there. I saw 7 stars like great burning mountains. I think if I asked the chat a question, I could get the exact same answer out of every single one of you. Where do we see stars? You can make it just the most simple answer. A 3-letter answer even works. Where do we see stars? Where are stars? Because I have the chat open now. And I am making a point. I am being silly, but it's a point that needs to be made. And actually, we're going to look in another chapter a little bit later, or in a little while. And what I'm making a point of right now, Enoch's even going to, or Uriel's even going to make that point to Enoch, kind of. Thank you, Davey313. She said sky. Isn't that a simple answer? And Larry Young got it right, too, in the firmament. Larryology, how you doing? Oh, okay, that was for somebody else. Thanks anyway, Tony. I was being a little silly. Because we all know that the stars are in the sky. Okay. So he said he saw 7 of them, like great burning mountains. Well, I didn't know quite what that means. But he did just mention up above, seeing. He went to another place where there's these stones, these magnificent stones, and he called the 7 mountains of magnificent stones. So that's interesting. Yo, Michael Kahn, how you doing? Good to see you. I saw there 7 stars like great burning mountains. And to me, when I inquired regarding them, the angel said, "This place is the end of heaven and earth. This has become a prison for the stars and the host of heaven." Okay, so the angel just told him, and the angel he's with is Uriel. Uriel just told him that there's a place at the end of heaven and earth, and that's Enoch already told us that that's where he saw the firmament of the heaven above, was at the end of the earth. Okay? He's talking about either under the firmament, in the firmament. I don't know specifically. But I don't think we need to know specifically to understand that there's this place that's a prison for evil spirits. And if you haven't thought about really what that means, there is a place, and actually it was mentioned in the chat earlier, and I saw it. It was Lariology said outer darkness. Well, that's where Legion, all those demons that were in that guy that didn't want to be cast out into the pigs, into the swine, or they did want to be cast out into the swine because they didn't want to be put out into the deep or into outer darkness. And Jesus said there'd be weeping and gnashing of teeth there. It's definitely a place. Now, what I'm learning, and we're gonna go to the Bible to verify this too. Jude mentions this specific prison, okay, and he tells us it's the wandering stars that are reserved there. So, if we're talking about space, what is space? According to Enoch and Jude, and I have Jude open. We'll look at it right now. Jude, verse 13 says, "Raging waves of the sea, foaming out their own shame, wandering stars, to whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever." That's what space is. It's the blackness of darkness. It's not the universe. It's a prison for evil spirits. And actually, we're going to learn even more. And look at Jude even said that he understood Enoch, what Enoch was writing, and that's what we're trying to do right now. So Jude's a step ahead of us already. He understood what Enoch was describing. I had went my whole life without understanding it, you know. So I'm trying to understand it now. Okay, because he said, "And Enoch also, the 7th from Adam, prophesied of these, saying, Behold, the Lord cometh with 10,000 of his saints to execute judgment upon all." They've collected a lot of people in their favor, these evil spirits in this prison, and we'll learn that. We'll learn that there's an adversary that is it is invisible to our generation. At first, the way we were raised, the understanding we were given about a solar system and about a universe where there's space where we can travel there, we can send things there, and there's planets there that we can live on. That's not that's the influence of our adversary. That's the influence of Satan, Lucifer, the devil. Okay, so back to Enoch quick. Uriel's going to explain what these things are more, and it's interesting because we have to just understand that Uriel's telling us that this place that's at the end of heaven and earth that Enoch already said was the firmament of the heaven above, that place has become a prison for the stars and the host of heaven. A prison. So why would stars need a prison? Did they do something wrong? Well, Uriel explains it here. So this, I'm going to read the whole verse again, 14. The angel said, "This place is the end of heaven and earth. This has become a prison for the stars and the host of heaven," which we verified in Jude already. He said raging waves of the sea. He's talking about those dark waters up there. The waters above. Raging waves of the sea, foaming out their own shame. Wandering stars, to whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever. I'll explain to you quickly why I consider them to be wandering stars, or why I would say most people, I don't know if this is the same image. It takes a minute. Okay, I think that's the same. But, okay, those stars right there are not the wandering stars. There's only 7 stars in our sky that don't do what these are doing on your screen. They don't sit and go around in circles like this. They have their own motions. And those stars are what we call, in our current generations, in our world, our society, our whatever, we call it planets. That word, we'll actually be looking at that word. Let's do this. Where is that word? Oh, it is in the book of Jude, right? I think it is. Let me, I know one other place to find it, but let's just investigate this really quick in the Greek. Let's see what we can learn here. 13. Waves wild of the sea, foaming out of their own shame. Whoops. Foaming out of their own shame, stars wandering, to whom, this is interesting, to whom the gloom of darkness to the age has been reserved. That's interesting. The gloom of darkness. So, wandering stars, look at this word. 4107, let's look at this word. This is just wandering. This word is just wandering. My computer's taking a minute. I think I clicked it already. Yeah, I did. Planetes, maybe? A wanderer. A wanderer. Let's see here. I'm going to read to you what it says here about there's another word here called planeo. This is the one I was thinking of. To wander. Properly a wandering star, planet. Figuratively a false teacher, operating without moral compass and exploiting other aimless people, prompting them to also stray from God's circle of safety, sound doctrine. Interesting. Let's look at what Strong's Exhaustive Concordance says. Wandering, a rover, planet, an erratic teacher, wandering. Now let's go look at that one word, this one word, planeo, because this word came from this word. It was to cause to wander, lead astray, deceive, cause to wander. So this is what it says here in Help's Word Studies. Go astray, get off course, to deviate from the correct path, circuit, course. So this is it's a reference to the stars, but it can also be a reference to other things, I think. But in this case, we're talking about a circuit, just like Enoch was saying the winds carry the stars on a circuit. To deviate from the correct path. So that's what the planets, what we'll do here is we'll go like this. We'll just do the quick Google search. Mercury, Venus, well, see they have 8 here, but Earth isn't a planet. So Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. Okay? And I want to remind everyone that there's this image that comes into our minds. Let's do this. Let's look at, there's an image that I think is really not a good image to have. Okay. We'll just do this one just to give you the, oh, did I click the link? That's not what I'm trying to do. Sorry. My computer really goes so slow. The image of the solar system, everyone here should realize, and you should, if you realize it, you should point out to other people. Nobody's ever seen a solar system. Nobody's ever observed a solar system. A solar system is simply an idea, and like an intellectual idea, like a, some people would call it a model or a working model, okay? Forget about all of that. There is no solar system. What actually happens is the stars do, let me, since my computer's make, I don't know what's going on. It seems to have locked up. Let's see if I can get this going again. Or did my whole computer lock up? Okay. So this is an actual, it's not the image I really wanted. Let me get the video. I'm sorry. I'm just going to have to do this. I'm going to get the video. I want you guys to understand why they would be called wandering stars and only those 7. I have to grab the video of it because what we're looking at on the screen is, it's horrible. Sorry about that. All right, almost there. Almost got it. Almost. Here we are. Okay. There. Well, I guess that's better, right? I think it's better. It's slower too. Okay. That's an actual image that I took from my backyard. And what it is it was an image over like 2.5 hours of time or something like that. So that's what the sky does. What I did is I pointed it at the north, or pointed it at Polaris, and there's all the stars circle from a point right by Polaris. And this is what they do. All of them. And to explain something really quickly that people misunderstand, that makes them think that that the sky they're seeing is a globe, but it's there. This is just one of the reasons, or proves a globe or something. Right now we're looking north on your screen. We're looking at the North Pole star or whatever, the North Celestial center of axis of rotation. Okay, where I have a mouse there. You guys can't see that though. I had to get my mind right for a second there. So right here, they're going to the left at the top there. They're going counterclockwise, right? How could they possibly be going clockwise in the southern hemisphere? It's very simple, guys. It has nothing to do with the shape of the earth being a certain shape. Right now, we're facing north. Okay? If you're seeing what you're seeing on my screen, you are facing north. There's no disputing that. Doesn't matter where you are. If you can see that, you're facing north. What do you have to do is, if we were to turn left right now from what's on the screen, we would see the stars setting. And that's what I see in my sky, and that's what you will see in your sky if you just do a little mind exercise. So you turn 90 degrees to the left, and which way are you facing? You are now facing west, right? Or west, I think. I'm turned around in my room here, in my mind. Okay. No, yes, it's west. I'm sorry. I had to go over that real quick in my head because something wasn't connecting. So the stars will be setting in the west, right? Now, it'll be like that all the way till you can't even see this North Star anymore. And the stars continue to set in the west all the way into the southern hemisphere. Anywhere you are in the south, they're going to be setting in the west. And we're still facing that west, okay? I mean, we're not now on the screen. The screen's still pointed north, but in our little exercise, we turned and we were looking at the stars setting. Now let's turn 90 degrees more so that we can look at the southern center of rotation of the stars. Which direction are the star trails going to be going? Well, look at your screen, and I think I can mirror this. Okay, it would look more like that. See, now to the right would be west, and they're still setting in the west. The sky is just turning in one direction. One massive circle. And that's reality. So if Sean Hawkins is still here, that is why your idea of the ceiling doesn't cut it. That's not what we're experiencing on this earth. What we're experiencing is two celestial poles up in the sky, far away from each other, and all the stars between them going in circles, all the same direction. There's a common argument that people that argue for the globe make, and unfortunately it's just people that think that flat earth is dumb, so they think that they understand a lot of these things, and they truly don't. But the stars are not switching directions. Craig from Fight the Flat Earth, I had to show him this. He didn't understand it right. The stars don't switch rotations at the equator. They say that. Proves the globe. You guys are nuts. You've never been to the equator. You're not looking at what the sky's doing. If I look up right now, the skies are going to be, from our view that we have on the screen, if we look up, the stars will be moving from left to right. And if we turn around, we're going to see counterclockwise again. And all the stars are still going to be moving all the same direction as all the other stars around that circle. So that's important stuff, because I never understood any of this about the sky. And it is important to understand this, because if you're believing that you're in a solar system because there's 7 planets that do something different in the sky, and it's barely different, but over the course of a year or whatever, it's different. They have retrograde motion. They appear to go they appear to switch direction, okay? But let's go back to the desktop. So forget the idea of a solar system. You've never observed it. No one's ever observed it. Someone had the idea. Hey, if gravity is a thing and we see moons going around Jupiter, that must mean that it's a physical place up there, and that all physics apply up to there, and the planets and everything. We can go land there. We just got to know our science. Well, you forgot about God. And that's why I'm excited about the dry erase board videos I'm going to be making. And I might do them live, I don't know. But I have a huge dry erase board, and I just put it kind of on the wall and got the lighting so that the lighting's good and the camera set up and stuff. A lot of this stuff is really simple to understand. We see the stars in the sky, we see the planets in the sky, and they're all doing this similar motion of going, rising in the east, setting in the west. They're all kind of doing that same thing. different variations of it, different heights and different, but they're all kind of doing that. The stars do like a perfect circle. The planets do like their own motions. And they're in a different place. Like from where I'm at, the planets are more to the south, it seems. Always. But anyway, so back to the book of Enoch. So let's get the explanation of what these 7 stars that he called great burning mountains. So Uriel said, the angel said, this place is the end of heaven and earth. This has become a prison for the stars and the host of heaven. And the stars which roll over the fire. Oh, I'm sorry, I got it mirrored still. And the stars which roll over the fire are they which have transgressed the commandment of the Lord in the beginning of their rising. Whoa. That's like a whole can of worms right there. That was day 4 of creation. Wait till you see what these things did and are doing. And that's why when people say come out of or when God, or was it an angel? I don't know. Come out of Babylon? Don't partake in her sins? You got to know what her sins are in order to not partake in them. So this is a very evil thing that Enoch's seeing. And we just say, oh, it's the planets in space. We don't understand what they are in this world. But I think we are. I think we're starting to. So it was a prison for the stars and the host of heaven, and the stars which roll over the fire are they which have transgressed the commandment of the Lord in the beginning of their rising. That would have been on day 4. Because they did not come forth at their appointed times. So they disobeyed God. And he was wroth with them and bound them. See that? He imprisoned them, guys. Bound them till the time when their guilt should be consummated, even for 10,000 years. This is what we are talking about. Planets. And the earth is not a planet. Those 7, Enoch called them, what did he say? I saw their 7 stars like great burning mountains. Wow. Who wants to understand a mystery? It's an amazing thing. Most people disagree with it, but you can understand it right now. Great burning mountains. Well, we don't really know why Enoch called them great burning mountains, but we'll learn let me just show you this. We'll learn this. He does it again in the next chapter we're going to read, or the chapter 21. Like great mountains and burning with fire. So we know that these stars, he said, stars of the heaven bound together in it. He's talking about 7 planets, 7 stars in the heaven that are doing something different than what all the other stars are doing. And they are imprisoned for it until judgment. Okay? And not only that, but he said it was let's go back there. He said it was a prison. It had become a prison for the stars and the host of heaven. Okay? Not my words. That's Uriel the angel. And Enoch wrote it down. So we're just reading it. So there's a prison at the end of heaven and earth. There's a place, a horrible place that didn't have any water or birds. And it was a waste and horrible place. And it was no firmament of heaven above, and no firmly founded earth beneath it. And the angel said, this place is the end of heaven and earth. This has become a prison for the stars and the host of heaven. So it sounds like more than just stars are imprisoned there. Okay, look what else. So it continues in chapter 19. The angel said, or Uriel said to me, here shall stand the angels who have connected themselves with women. Okay, let's identify who those angels are. Who is that talking about? And where are they? Here. Where's here? Well, we were just there. The prison for the stars and the host of heaven. The end of heaven and earth. That's where Enoch said the firmament of heaven was. So we're in the firmament of heaven. Maybe not in it, or maybe right beneath it, or right above it, or something. Enoch said, at the end of the earth, he saw that at the end of the earth the firmament of the heaven above. So that he's at the end of the earth, or where the firmament of heaven above, where they come together, the end of earth and heaven. Or actually, he said, where was that? It was beyond a deep abyss. Oh, there it is. He said, there the heavens were completed. So he was at the end of the heavens and the end of the earth where they meet. That's where the firmament is. And that's where he was. And so then the angel tells him about, well, this is a prison. This is a prison for evil stars. And he gives him detail about it. These 7 here, they're bound until judgment because they didn't obey God right off the bat. Right at the beginning of their rising. That's what he's saying. And then this next chapter gets wild. We're talking about a different group of angels here. And Uriel said to me, here shall stand the angels who have connected themselves with women. Uh-oh. Let's just go to Genesis 6 and I just want to show you who these angels are. They lusted after human women. I'm going to go to Bible Hub. Is it there? Yeah. So there's this place that we're calling space. NASA's thinking that they have a great future there. It's not going to be great, but I think it's going to be there. That is their future. They're going to get their wish. Let's look at this. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. Okay, that's what this was just saying. Whoops. Here shall stand the angels who have connected themselves with women. So if you're not familiar, back in Genesis 6, there's these angels, and they came down, and they took wives, and they created offsprings, and offspring, and they were giants, and they were trouble. And that's a good reason why the flood took place. Apparently, I mean that's what I think. But so here shall stand the angels who have connected themselves with women, and their spirits. Look at this, guys. Assuming many different forms, are defiling mankind, and shall lead them astray. That's why we call them planets, remember? Lead astray. To cause to wander, deceive, deceived, deceives, deceiving, go astray, gone astray, leads astray, led astray, misguided, misled, misleads, mislead, misled, mistaken, straying, strays, wandering. Just reading what this planeo word means. Look what it says here, 4105. Planeo is the root of the English term planet, wandering body. This term nearly always conveys the sin of roaming. Interesting. And there is something else we can learn here really fast. If I go to 1 John, I just want to share something. This word is used in a place talking about our adversary. And it uses this word. My computer's super slow, sorry. It says that they seduce us. And in Enoch, we're going to go to right now because my computer's really slow. Oh, wow. It says not responding. It'll come back, I think. Oh no. If you guys can still hear me, my Google just crashed out and I just opened a new page, or I'm opening a new page. That's crazy. Yeah, no Google. This happened to me recently, and it was during a stream, but what was it? It was my program that shut down. My program's working fine right now. It appears that Google doesn't want to open. Let's see here. Google Chrome. I think it's probably taking time. Last time it happened, Anthony sent me a text. Anthony, Tony's Coffee House. So I'm going to send him a message. Last time he said, you're still live. So I'm going to send him a message say, can you hear me? Can you... I should have just hit the microphone button. Yeah. I'm waiting for Google to open. It still is not opening, though. It's giving me the little turnaround thing. My streaming software says I'm still streaming, but that probably doesn't mean a lot if YouTube isn't running. He says yes. Thanks, Anthony. I'm just waiting for Google to open. So anyway, let me grab my Bible and read you that 1 John verse right out of my Bible, because we got to wait for Google. And honestly, okay, there, Google's opening up finally. It's probably won't be long and I'll have it up and running. We do see your desktop. Oh, cool. Good deal. Thank you, Tony. I appreciate that. Okay, good. We got Google back. Wow. What a deal. That seemed really fast, but it didn't give me the option to restore. So what do? I just go to my YouTube? Probably? All right. And then hopefully I can just go to my live or whatever, but I'm actually going to open... We'll have to open our Enoch again. Enoch 19. I typed it in already, don't worry. Okay, 1 John 2, verse, 26? Yeah, he's writing a lot of good stuff. This is one of my favorite books, or maybe not one of my favorites, but really good book, 1 John. And in chapter 2, verse 26, it says, these things have I written unto you concerning them that seduce you. And that word planeo is the seduce you part. So it's interesting. Oh, that's what we were looking at. Also, we were looking at Bible Hub. We were in Jude, I guess. Let's just look at this Enoch 19. That'll get us started again. At least you guys, At least you guys still get, my program didn't go down, so you guys at least get to see what I'm looking at. I think, what's going on though? Oh, I just have a screen in there. Okay, I forgot about that. There we go. Okay, so he's saying that just like that word means to lead astray, all those things I was saying, Euro said, here shall stand the angels who have connected themselves with women, and their spirits assuming many different forms. That's important. What are meteors? What are comets? What are these things? Well, very well could be those angels. They're defiling mankind and shall lead them astray into sacrificing to demons as gods. What does that mean? So they're going to lead mankind astray, the planets. And these angels, the ones that connected themselves with women, the fallen angels. Oh, maybe that's where we were when it died out in Genesis. Anyway, those angels that came down, that it was a big mess. Maybe I already said that. So then he says, here shall they stand till the day of the great judgment, in which they'll be judged till they are made an end of. Okay, so this is important. But let's continue on to skip a chapter there and go to chapter 21. This is the other place where Enoch, I think he goes back there, or he's describing it again. And this says, preliminary and final place of punishment of the fallen angels, stars. And I proceeded to where things were chaotic, and I saw there something horrible. I saw neither a heaven above, nor a firmly founded earth, but a place chaotic and horrible. And I saw there 7 stars of the heaven bound together in it. In it, okay? So this place is a horrible, chaotic place. And he's saying much the same that he said that we already went over in the other chapter. I saw neither a heaven above, nor a firmly founded earth. So, and he saw these stars bound together in the heaven. So he's obviously in the heaven. And then he calls them the great mountains again, like great mountains burning with fire. Then I said, for what sin are they bound? And on what account have they been cast in hither? Then said Uriel, one of the holy angels, who was with me, and was chief over them, and said, Enoch, why dost thou ask? And why art thou eager for the truth? I forgot about something. Sorry, guys. I still have to open my live stream page. I think. Is that how you do? Oh, I could probably just go live and it's probably already running. Because my streaming software didn't stop either. I'm learning. Okay, so he asks him why he wants the truth. Like, why are you so eager for the truth? Let's see here. I go to create, I think. Go live. I just saw a comment there. It looked like someone was accusing me of deleting their comments. I don't delete comments unless you're super vulgar. And I just don't. I let people say what they want to say. If you're attacking other people, I might delete them. Like I might. But in that case, I wouldn't delete one comment. I'd just delete you off the channel. I'd hide all your comments. A lot of times, YouTube doesn't put the comments up. And that's something that I've learned is happens quite often. If you accidentally have something similar to a link, or some of those types of things, sometimes YouTube will keep it off of there. Or depending on the content in your, but yeah, a regular comment should never be deleted. So I don't know. I'll have to look into it. Okay. It says I'm live here. Let's see where options. Oh, maybe I just click on it. Okay. I'm back in. All right. Okay. So do you guys understand why I've been speaking about space not being faked, and that the flat earthers need to start thinking about it differently, in a different way? Do you understand why I'm saying that after reading this? There's a very good reason why I'm saying that, and it's not my information. It's because I'm understanding something, and it's for us to understand. Okay, so we'll continue here. So he asks Enoch why he wants the truth, and then he says, "These are the number of the stars of heaven." So this is twice that it's saying stars of heaven. "These are the number of the stars of heaven which have transgressed the commandment of the Lord, and are bound here till 10,000 years. The time entailed by their sins are consummated. And from thence I went to another place, which was more horrible than the former. And I saw a horrible thing, a great fire there, which burnt and blazed, and the place was cleft as far as the abyss." That means like split, or like open. The place was cleft as far as the abyss, being full of great descending columns of fire. Neither its extent or magnitude could I see, nor could I conjecture. Then I said, "How fearful is the place, and how terrible to look upon!" Then Uriel answered me, one of the holy angels who was with me, and said unto me, "Enoch, why hast thou such fear and affright? Why are you scared?" And I answered, "Because of this fearful place, because of the spectacle of the pain." And he said unto me, "This place is the prison of the angels, and here they will be imprisoned forever." So there is a prison for angels that's up in the stars, and it's a place of darkness, and it's part of biblical cosmology. If you live on a globe, you call it space. But it's actually the darkness on the face of the deep. It's in the second verse of the Bible. We're going to look at, I'll just go to Genesis 6, but whatever. We're going to look at my understanding. Excuse me. I want to explain, because like biblical cosmology, there's a lot of commonly popular beliefs that are wrong. Earth is flat. But I have people asking me all the time, "Did you go back to the globe?" No. I'm just interested in truth, unlike most of those people. And I can't say most of them, a lot of them. If I have an idea that the ISS is fake, then it must be fake. Well, you're not interested in truth then, I guess. I had to take a drink. That's Kool-Aid. Tropical with way too much Kool-Aid flavor. That'll wake you up. Okay. Genesis 6. Well, let's go to Genesis 1. This place is mentioned in the Bible right at the beginning. It's like literally one of the first places that's mentioned. The fourth place, I guess. Fourth place that's mentioned. "In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep." Well, if we look at that, that's verse 2 in your Bible. If we look at the words used there. Okay, darkness, we know what that is. Darkness. The absence of light. Tom Morgan said, "Joe's drinking the Kool-Aid." But it says there was darkness over the face of the deep. So I looked at this word of the deep, and it's, I forgot what word it actually is. Tehom. Deep, sea, abyss. A lot of people say, "Yeah, that's the ocean." Sure, let's say it's the ocean. How are there stars there, guys? It is an ocean. It's waters. It clearly describes it being dark waters, darkness. NASA calls it a vacuum. I don't know why they call it a vacuum. It probably, as far as they can tell, it's probably like a vacuum. But it's dark waters. According to biblical cosmology, it's darkness. And there's an abyss there beyond it, or it's beyond an abyss. Or there's an abyss beyond it, whatever that means. This is what Enoch was. We were just going over this. It was cleft as far as the abyss, and it was full of columns of fire. So they apparently can't see everything from where they are, like on the space station or whatever. They're they're in the air of the underworld. They're messing with the most evil forces that exist. And like Elon Musk said, let's move to Mars. That's like Antichrist stuff. David 313 says, maybe, or no stars in the ocean. Maybe spaceships. So Eugene 12 makes a good point. Waters above, waters below. The firmament separates. And there's things in the firmament, though. Because so that's not completely, it's not like straight lined. There's some foggy areas of my understanding on that, but you have to understand what I'm saying. The air stops, and then they call that space beyond that or whatever. Well, to me, that's just heaven. That's where God didn't give us dominion, right? Okay, so he learns that these stars are the ones that sinned, that transgressed the commandment of the Lord. And then at the very end, he says, this place is the prison of the angels, and here they will be imprisoned forever. Now, here is where there's mysteries. If we can understand this, there's mysteries to know about things. Okay, 2 times we were just reading in chapter 18 and 21 of Book of Enoch, where Enoch was looking at these specific 7 stars that were doing their own thing, their own courses or whatever. And 2 times he called them mountains burning like fire, or mountains and burning like fire. Great mountains burning with fire. Twice. And twice the angel told him that those were the stars that transgressed the commandment of God. And they didn't do what he said, so he imprisoned them in this place. Okay? We're waiting, I guess. So that place is the darkness over the face of the deep. And the firmament is a place that it's inside of, because that's where the sun, moon, and stars are. God placed them in the firmament of the heaven. So it's a place. But it's a place where there's the winds of heaven, which are completely different than earth. And actually we'll learn, let me just look up Psalm 18. And that I just wanted to show you, there's a reason why I understand this to be both wind and water. Let's see here. Because we were just reading that Enoch was saying the winds of heaven, that they turn and they bring the circumference of the sun and the stars to all they make all the sun, moon, and stars go around in circles. In Psalm 18, verse 9, he bowed the heavens also and came down, and darkness was under his feet. Well, that's true. So he came down and darkness was under his feet. Well, look what we were just reading. Whoops, I clicked the button I wasn't planning on clicking. Darkness was under his feet. Sorry, I clicked, I wasn't meaning to click the back button, and I did. Darkness was under his feet. Because in the next verse it says, and the earth was formless and void, and darkness was over the face of the deep. And look, the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. So the deep is, first of all, it's waters. And it's the face of the deep is waters. The face of the waters. And God was above it. He was hovering over it. Okay, and then it says here in Psalm 18, verse 11, He made darkness his secret place. His pavilion round about him were dark waters and thick clouds of the skies. At the brightness that was before him, his thick cloud passed, hailstones and coals of fire. Okay, so God's above the darkness, but the darkness is his secret place. There's secrets there. There's secrets there. Okay, what was the next thing I was gonna... Oh, we're gonna go, of all places. Remember John in Revelation... I'm having a mind block here. John went to a place that was also prison. It actually became just this, almost the same exact way that Enoch... that Uriel told Enoch. We'll just go to Revelation 17. Okay, there's a place. Oh, we're going to go to Bible Hub for sure. This is crazy, you guys. Okay. The waters which thou sawest. Oh boy, let's see here. We'll go to Revelation 18. I don't want to lose my point. Verse 2 in here, he sees him, and a mighty angel comes down from heaven. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. That sounds like the place that Enoch was brought to, doesn't it? The host of heaven and the stars imprisoned, the fallen angels, the planets, the leading men, leading astray, causing to wander, caused to go off course, those planets, and then also the fallen angels who came down and took wives, human wives, and created offspring. So this place, to me, it's a prison for evil spirits. How many prisons for evil spirits did God make? You know, a habitation of devils and a hold and a cage. Okay, it's a prison. Actually, let's just look at the, I want to show you rather than just tell you. Let's look at the Greek words there, because I think it uses the word prison more than once. It says, and he cried out in a mighty voice, saying, Babylon, or fallen, fallen is Babylon the Great, and she has become a habitation of demons, and a prison of every spirit unclean, and a prison of every bird. It says prison 3 times, guys. Of every bird unclean, and a prison of every creature unclean, having been hated. 4 times. Right? Prison. I can't count because the scrolling isn't working. Okay, but so there's a prison for unclean spirits. And where is it? Where is this prison? It is, well, we know it's in the sky. Of heaven, stars of heaven. This place is the prison of the angels, and here they will be imprisoned forever. That is what space is, guys. Now let me, I had a bunch of other ideas to open up. So what I'm saying is that this is Babylon. That's Babylon. Space, outer space, the solar system that doesn't even exist. That's Babylon. And she's making the world drunk. Just think about that. She's partaking in, the world is partaking in sins because of her. But I don't want to go on to the Babylon topic as much as I want to go to other scriptures that describe this place of imprisonment, and that it's not like some mystery place. It's Sheol or hell or the bottomless pit, the abyss, whatever you want to call it. Gehenna. There's so many different names for the place. Outer darkness. There's a lot of names for this place, but hell is one of them. That's probably a very commonly known one. So, space that NASA understands is Sheol, that Enoch understands. Okay? NASA says the exact same thing that Lucifer says in his heart, that they will ascend into heaven and exalt their throne above the stars of God. They literally have a space station up there, is what they say, okay? Is what they want. That's what they spend all this money on, and involve all the world in it. All the world in it. Because if you believe something that someone's doing, and you can even see it with your eyes and verify it, that must mean that they can't be wrong, that they're not lying. Well, a lot of people accuse them of lying. I don't think they're lying at all. I think that they are believing a lie. They're being duped by what again? So if there was evil spirits that came down to the earth already and are now again imprisoned. So they came down and they created a big mess for this world and created giants and took human wives. Those same angels, do you think they could come down again if someone let them out of their cage? Watchful, yes, a dark abyss where no flesh could survive. Exactly. Our flesh goes 6 feet deep when we die, but our spirit goes to another place. One of two places, kind of. If you read 2nd Esdras, goes into great detail about these two places and what happens there. But there's a good place and a bad place to await the final judgment or whatever. Oh, okay. Tiger Bear's got a good one. I don't understand how it works. The space station's still a mystery to me. Here it's actually really simple how it actually works. Enoch was describing the earth as the place where the winds of the earth were, right? The atmosphere, I'm thinking. But he described a turning place that was turning and carrying all that stuff up there in a circle. And that was the winds of heaven. That was actually the heavens. That was the heavenly realm. It was a different place. So to me, okay, it's an incorruptible place. Or uncorruptible, I don't know which is the correct word. Do you know what I mean? if you take you put a car, a metal car out in whatever, anywhere you put it, and it'll just rust eventually. And it'll basically eventually turn kind of back into dirt. Same thing with the human body. Same thing with everything in this world does that. Everything. I think. It's corruptible. But up above is not corruptible. So what happens, what does God think when we put a satellite in that place up there? God sees it as an abomination in his sanctuary. He doesn't look at it as, hey, look, they're making their own technology. That one almost hit my foot. I mean, I'm just being silly, but you got to be kidding me. They're trying to climb up to his level. That's all they're doing. That's exactly what Lucifer wants to do. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Elon Musk. I'm going to make a civilization. I create a civilization on Mars. Bring humanity to another world. You don't see any blasphemy against God there? You know? Oh, Davey313 brings up wormwood. That's another good one. Not necessarily wormwood, but there's another verse that I want to share I'll just show you myself. Let's just go to Revelation 17, and I'll just go to 8 from there. Revelation 8, John, a whole different prophet or whatever, author, whatever you want to call it. He says the exact same thing about a great mountain burning with fire, and guess where it comes from? The sky. Check this out. Verse 8, and the second angel sounded, and as it were, a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea. And a third part of the sea became blood, and the third part of the creatures which were in the sea and had life died, and a third part of the ships were destroyed. Just think about that. He used the same... Oh, that was the other mystery that is interesting. So John sees this thing come... As it were, a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea. He's talking about one of these planets. Let me show you this. So Enoch said that twice. John said it once right there. And then, I should go back. I'll just do it up here. Sorry, guys. My computer gets so slow. In Revelation 17, there might be a mystery that there's a place where John goes where there's 7 mountains, guys. We just went over 2 chapters in Enoch where he went twice to a place where the stars of heaven were bound. It's in heaven. And he said twice, he called them mountains burning with fire. Look at this. So I have to give a little bit of preface here. So he goes into the spirit. Verse 3 here. So Uriel, I don't know if this is Uriel, but I think it is. But this angel takes John. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness. And I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast full of names of blasphemy. So he describes this beast, and it had 7 heads and all this stuff about this beast, and it had a woman riding it on it, and she was a whore, mystery Babylon the Great, mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. It is the greatest abomination of the earth. But so look what it says here, though. So it's talking about the heads on that beast. It says, verse 9, and here's the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. And then in verse 11, it says, and the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the seven, and goeth into perdition. Think about this. Think about this. There's 7 mountains, and they're wandering stars. What would the 8th mountain be? Would that be a wandering star? Because that's the beast. Is there an 8th wandering star? Just think about that. An 8th mountain burning with fire. Even he is the 8th, and is of the 7. Let's, I had that one page open. Oh, wait, you know what? Let me play a video. Let me find a video and play it. I already have it in there. We're going to watch a short video. Yeah, I'm glad I realized that I had that. Okay, let's watch this. Whoops, I got it muted.
Space is so incredibly... The weird part about it is space is so incredibly black, so incredibly dark. It's a bottomless pit of deep black. Almost so deep it almost has a texture when you look at it.
It's wandering stars to whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever.
And there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will shew unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints, and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. And the angel said unto me, Wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman, and of the beast that carrieth her, which hath the 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was, and is not, and yet is. And here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains, on which the woman sitteth. And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is. And the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition. Even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition.
So there's that. I think that that's something that, you know, it's something to think about. I guess I don't know if that is. I think it's right. I think it is because it's scarlet colored too. Did you guys notice? Let's see if I can find it. Huh. Look at what color it is. When you look at it in the sky, I'll show you a video I took of it if I can find it. If you look at it in the sky, it's a scarlet colored thing. It's like a red-orange. ISS with Nikon P1000. Here's the ISS.
Space station.
Or that's the moon right there, but let me fast forward a little bit. It'll be on there. It'll be going in and out. I can't hold the camera on it forever. It's hard. There we go. And as it goes over, the farther away it gets from you, the more orange it becomes. Which you can actually see in this video. So, DM said hollow places for the spirits of the dead. Yes. And the place where they are is darkness. Darkness. That's where all that is. It's God's secret place. It's a prison. It's also the very top, the very high heaven is, I don't think, dark. It's not darkness. It's above that darkness. I think that darkness that's called the ever-expanding universe, which they clearly don't understand, but they teach children that we do understand it. That's a problem. I like what Tom Morgan said, play Demons of Arabia. So these demons in the sky, guys, they do a lot physically. Let's listen to it's like a 5-minute story from the Testament of Solomon, and it's very interesting. And at the very end of it, Solomon almost throws a Sidewinder surprise at us. And I mean at us in this generation. Check this out. Whoops, muted again.
From Adares, the king of the... Again, in those days, there came to me a letter from Adares, the king of the Arabians, saying, To King Solomon, greeting. We have heard of the wisdom that has been given to thee, and that thou art a compassionate man, and that thou hast power over all spirits that are in the air, or on the earth, or under the earth. Now be it known to thee that there is a destroying spirit in this land. For every day at dawn there arises a wind which blows for 3 hours, and it is so venomous that every one on whom it blows dies, and it kills the cattle also. Now therefore we entreat thee in thy wisdom to devise some means, and if it may be, send us a man who can capture the spirit. And if thou canst do so, then I and my people will be tributary unto thee, and Arabia shall keep peace with thee. And we beseech thee, make not light of our petition, for we are in a great strait. And so farewell. When I had read this letter, I folded it up again and gave it to my chief counselor, saying, Bring it again to my remembrance after 7 days. Then I thought upon the matter, and after the 7 days I called one of my servants and said to him, Make ready a camel, and get an empty wineskin. And he did so. Now the wineskin was made of a whole hide of a beast, so that it had the upper parts of the 4 legs remaining upon it, the legs being sewn up, and the neck open. I said to him further, Take this ring, and go into Arabia, to the place where the venomous wind blows, and take the skin, and hold the ring in front of the mouth of the skin towards the wind, so that the wind shall blow through the ring. And when the skin is blown up, you will know that the demon is inside it. Then hasten and tie up the neck of the skin, and seal it with the ring, and put it upon the camel, and bring it to me. But if on the way the demon promise you gold and silver and treasures to let him go, see that you do not obey him, but rather make him reveal to you where the treasures are hid, and mark the places, and come on to me. Now go, and good success be with you. So my servant set out, and came to Arabia, and the men of the country doubted much whether he could capture the spirit. But when the day was dawning, even the first day after his coming, he rose up and set the skin with its mouth towards the wind, and laid the ring in the mouth of it. And the wind blew through the ring, and entered into the skin, and puffed it up. And the man caught the neck of the skin, and closed it, and sealed it with the ring in the name of the Most High. Then he abode yet 3 days in the place to make trial of his success. But the poisonous wind blew no more, so that all the Arabians were assured that the demon was safely shut up. And they rejoiced greatly, and gave him many precious gifts, and did him great honor. And when he set forth to come back to me, they accompanied him to their borders. So he brought the skin back to Jerusalem, and put it in the midst of the temple. Now at this time I, Solomon, was somewhat troubled, because I had a great stone made ready to be placed upon the corner of the temple, and none of my workmen and none of the demons were able to lift it and set it in its appointed place. But I was exceedingly desirous to put it there, because it was of such beauty and excellence. And on the morning after my servant was come back out of Arabia, I went down to the temple, thinking by what means I could lift the stone. And as I entered the temple, I saw the skin, and it rose up and hopped 7 paces, and fell on its face, and did obeisance to me. And I marveled, and bade it stand up, and it stood on its feet, puffed up with wind. Then I asked, Who are you? And a voice answered me from within the skin, I am Ephippus, who dwell in Arabia. And I said, What can you do? And it answered, I can overturn kings' palaces, and wither the green trees of the wood, and I can move mountains. Then I said, Are you able to move this stone, and lift it up and set it upon the corner of the temple? And it said, Not only can I do so, O king, but if I have the demon that is in the Red Sea to help me, I can bring up the great pillar that is.
Okay, so listen to what this demon's telling him. And I understand there's a lot of doubt about this book and whatever, the Testament of Solomon. It's what's in the book that's interesting. It's foretelling, because the book was obviously not written today. It's foretelling something that it couldn't have known about. So that's interesting. And it has to do with the end of the world. But listen to what he's saying. I'm going to rewind it just a couple seconds. Listen to what he's saying that this wineskin can do. And keep in mind, it's talking about wind, which we were just studying, the winds. And it's talking about lifting heavy things. Things that all the other demons and his servants could not do. Only the wind could do it. So pay attention to what he's saying. This is crazy stuff.
There, and set it in whatever place you command. So I said, Lift up the cornerstone. And the skin first of all became flattened, as if the wind was gone out of it, and slipped itself under the stone. And then it blew itself out again, so that the stone was lifted up upon its back, and it walked upon its stumps, bearing the stone to the ladder, and climbed up and set the stone safely in its place upon the corner of the temple. And I was greatly rejoiced, and all Jerusalem with me. After that I sent Ephippus to fetch to me the demon that is in the Red Sea, and commanded them to bring with them the great pillar. And after a while I saw the pillar being borne through the air, and was astonished at the strength of the 2 demons. And when I considered with myself how mighty they were, and how they could shake the whole world in a moment of time, I feared to let them go. I made therefore a circle about them in the air with my ring, and said, Stay there. And the demons stayed, holding the pillar sloping between heaven and earth. And there they are to this day. And if anyone looks, he can see the pillar sloping in the heavens, but the demons he cannot see. But when they let fall the pillar, then will be the end of the world.
To blaspheme his name, and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven.
And if anyone looks, he can see the pillar sloping in the heavens, but the demons he cannot see. But when they let fall the pillar, then will be the end of the world. And if anyone looks, he can see the pillar sloping in the heavens, but the demons he cannot see. But when they let fall the pillar, then will be the end of the world.
So there's that. Pillar. Pillar. Solomon's temple. If you study that word, you're going to learn that it's the same word that Daniel used to describe the beasts he was seeing, and he said it's the word ram, like the animal, a ram. That word is also used, and it's actually used specifically in 1 Kings talking about Solomon's temple. The word ram. That's interesting. It's Strong's number 352, and it's AYIL, AIL, I guess. So that's interesting. Now, remember I was saying about Babylon? Well, here's another one. Here's another video I'm going to play. In 2nd Esdras, the demons of Arabia. This is like literally talking about the same thing. I could open that up because there's only one verse in the video. Well, we'll do that. We'll watch the video right now. But it talks about a time when they would make the stars fall down, and that is talking about the demons from Arabia. They have chariots, and their chariots would go out, and they would make a multitude of stars fall to the ground. And then it said, even their own star. And like this same, like I'm thinking about the eighth mountain burning with fire, the beast. I'm thinking the space station, the abomination of the earth, solar system. That whole idea is wrong. We'll just watch the video.
You know, we've been studying as deep as we can into some of the astronomical events that have taken place in the world. And when we start talking about this destroyer, obviously millions of things, something major comes to mind, but a lot of different clues on what a lot of mythologies talk about. I mean, almost all of them have this star or thing or whatever you want to call it that comes forth and creates a catastrophic event that really actually changes, and you'll get into that, but changes time itself.
Yeah, it changes time itself. It changes the calendar.
This star.
This is the only place that humans have outside of planet Earth where humans can live. And if you like, down there on Earth, you can actually see it with your naked eye. You just go to the ISS website and it tells you when to see us. You can look up in the sky and you will see this bright little star moving over the sky.
This star.
Now, when this war begins, also the war in the heavenlies will take place. And we're going to look at a text here in 2nd Exodus, and we're going to look behind the scenes into the spiritual realm for just a moment. In 2nd Exodus 15:35, and they shall smite one upon another, and they shall smite down a great multitude of stars upon the earth. And even their own star. And blood shall be from the sword unto the belly, and even their own star.
I have to pause it and point out again. It's a good time for me to point this out. Even their own star. Here is why I've been saying that to have the idea that NASA's faking space and that they're filming CGI in a swimming pool, you have a big surprise coming. You're ignoring half of reality. You're ignoring the entire heavenly realm, saying it men are faking it. Please be careful. And if you don't understand why I'm saying that NASA's not lying, you're looking at it in a entirely different way. There's a lie, and NASA is falling for it. There's a lie that includes defiling mankind and leading them astray. And this is all part of the end of the world happening. This whole space station stuff, the dragon, it's all deceiving the world. And it's not men. It's not a lie that came from men. It's a lie that came from darkness. The ruler of the darkness of this world. And I think you guys know who that is.
And even their own star.
This bright little star moving over the sky.
And even their own star. Now, this talks about casualties in the angelic realm of stars being beat down to the earth by other stars. This is literally an angel war that we're seeing, and the war in heaven. This is going to be wild, and I don't know how much of this we're going to see. During this time, the word in Isaiah says, you better get in and hide, because there's going to be all kinds of strange going on. This is when Jesus said men's hearts are going to fail them for fear. Their hearts are just going to give out because it's just too much for them. Now, there is a precise correlation to this in the scripture about the smiting down of the stars. Now, let's read it in Daniel chapter 8 and verse 10. And it waxed great, even to the host of heaven, and it cast down some of the host of the stars to the ground, and stamped upon them. That there's going to be casualties in this spiritual war. We're actually going to have angels fighting and destroying one another, casting them to the ground and stamping them. And in this text, it says that the little horn will do this.
Behold, an he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth, and touched not the ground.
Okay, I was just going to pause that, bring you over to the desktop. Whoops. Okay, let's see here. There was a couple more scriptures that I wanted to show you, or a couple more books where it mentions this prison. And I had them open. Ascension of Isaiah is one of them. Let's look at this. I know right where the verses are. So he gets a vision, and he's taken up through the heavens. Isaiah was. And here's where the vision starts. And an angel came to him and showed him a holy vision. Chapter 7, verse 9, is when they go to the firmament. He says, "And we ascended to the firmament, I and he, and there I saw Samuel and his hosts. And there was great fighting therein, and the angels of Satan were envying one another." Okay, let's see. Okay, then he explains it a little bit. "And afterwards he caused me to ascend to that which is above the firmament, which is the first heaven." Okay. Firmament, and then the first heaven. But in the firmament, he saw Satan's angels, and they were fighting. That's interesting, because that agrees with what Enoch told us about those stars and those angels from Genesis 6 that came down and took human wives, that they were bound there too. They were actually bound in the earth for 70 generations, but then they were taken there. They were led off to the abyss of fire. That's in Enoch chapter 10. But so then in chapter 10 here, where is it? Is that chapter 10? Oh, I didn't get there yet. Okay. So then they're in the seventh heaven now, and this is a really cool book because Isaiah gets to actually witness Jesus' return that hasn't happened yet. And so that's in here. But Jesus is being told from the Father in heaven. He says, go forth and descend through all the heavens, and thou wilt descend to the firmament and that world. To the angel in Sheol thou wilt descend, but to Haguel thou wilt not go. And thou wilt become like the likeness of all who are in the 5 heavens, so that he's not noticed, right? And look what it says. And thou wilt be careful to become like the form of the angels of the firmament, and the angels also who are in Sheol. And none of the angels of that world shall know thou art with me of the 7 heavens and of their angels. And that's not all. Okay, let's see when they get there. Okay, 4th, 3rd, descend in the 2nd heaven. Okay, verse 27. And again, I saw when he descended into the 1st heaven, and there also he gave the password to those who kept the gate, and he made himself like unto the form of the angels who were on the left of that throne. So he describes that through all the heavens, he took the form of the angels that were in the different firmaments or the different heavens, and so that he wouldn't be noticed. Okay, and I don't know why, but that's just what he said, what it says. And then verse 28. But as for me, no one asked me on account of the angel who conducted me. And again, he descended into the firmament, where dwelleth the ruler of this world. And he gave the password to those on the left, and his form was like theirs, and they did not praise him there, but were envying one another and fighting. For here there is a power of evil and envying about trifles. Okay, and I saw when he descended and made himself like unto the angels of the air, and he was like one of them. And then guess what? He comes with the clouds of heaven. But I wanted to show you one other thing whoops. I keep bumping my mic. Sorry, guys. In the vision of St. Paul, he was, Paul the Apostle. Ooh, I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me for a minute. Oh, I love a good sneeze. Sorry I couldn't share that with you. That was 2 good sneezes. The vision of St. Paul. He was taken up to the 3rd heaven, He says, well, I think it was him. I think he was talking about himself when he said, I knew a man 14 years ago that was taken up. Okay. Now, he's going, same thing, he's with an angel, and he's going up through these heavens. This is Paul now. And I'll read in 11 here. And the angel answered and said unto me, follow me, and I will show you the place of the just, where they are led when they are deceased. And after these things, taking thee into the abyss, I will show thee the souls of sinners, and what sort of place they are led into when they have deceased. And I proceeded back after the angel, and he led me into heaven. And I looked back upon the firmament, and saw in the same place power. And there was oblivion, which deceives and draws down to itself the hearts of men. I just want to pause there for a second. Remember, in Enoch, Uriel told Enoch that these angels and spirits up in the firmament were going to defile mankind and lead them astray into sacrificing to demons as gods. Well, what do you think Elon Musk is doing? Mars is not a place. Mars is a demon. Taking that form, assuming that form to defile mankind, specifically to defile mankind. So I'll read that part of the verse again. And in this, I saw in the same place power, and there was there oblivion which deceives and draws down to itself the hearts of men, and the spirit of detraction, and the spirit of fornication, and the spirit of madness, and the spirit of insolence. And there were there the princes of vices. These I saw under the firmament of heaven. And again I looked back, and I saw angels without mercy, having no pity, whose countenance was full of madness. Okay, that's who's in the firmament, guys. So I just wanted to show you those couple scriptures that I had those ones up earlier. But let's go back to that video and we'll finish that, and then that'll be... Oh, I was going to address the chat. Tiger Bear said, you don't think they've lied at all, Joe? Let me try to explain the way I see it. Everything that comes out of NASA's mouth is a lie. But Don Pettit believes all of that. He's an astronaut. He believes all of that. He's not lying. He's not lying to you. But it's all a lie. And actually, Tom Morgan said it good there. When you're living a lie, yes, you're a liar. Let's say this. This is a good analogy here, I guess. The first grade teacher has a globe on her desk. Did your teacher lie to you? Of course not. She wasn't lying to you. She was believing a lie. She thought she was on a globe. She was simply sharing what she thought was true. Teaching you what she thought was true. So, I'm not saying who's guilty or something like that. I'm just saying that the way I understand it is NASA's, they do a lot of stuff in a swimming pool, but that's just a small part of this whole big thing that they're doing, that the flat earthers like to ignore. The entire aerospace industry. No data, it says. I'm sure it'll fix itself. So I think Tony said something good too. It is their belief system. So they believe in a solar system. They believe they're in a solar system, and then everything that happens in that solar system is, that's their reality, and that's not where we live. Let's see here. Okay, so I'm going to go back to that video or actually, you know what? I might have a different video that I want to play. Because, how we were talking about the pillar, the Great Pillar? Check this out.
And God said, Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. And God made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so.
Davey313, I can't find it. I'm looking for it. The video with Ruth. If you go to... Ooh, my program quit, I think. Yeah, it just quit. So I think that's going to do the stream. I think it just quit. I don't even know what you guys are seeing right now. I think you're just seeing a flaming book. So I guess I'll have to play that another time. But if you search DITRH and then Ruth, you'll find it on YouTube. And you'll find the whole interview. Mine's just like a shorter cut-up version. But that's who did the interview, was DITRH. It's David Weiss. And that really was a good interview. So yeah, I guess that's it, guys, because I think my program just died. Oh, is it just a black screen? Black screen, Anthony says. Well, I guess we got the black screen. Thank you guys for coming, and I will talk to you soon. Share the info with your friends and family if you see what this is. We've been duped. We've been born into a generation that's duped. So it's not like it's our fault, but we had to come out of it. It's my thoughts on it. And it is easy to come out, but you need truth to do it. So you guys have a good one, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for coming.